everybody. Welcome to Patch Notes. This is our monthly show for you, the community, to learn more about what Twitch is doing behind the scenes. You get to learn from Twitch staff, myself, and even the CEO, Dan, who's right here next to me, will answer your questions live on this show and just tell you a little bit more about what's going on at Twitch. It's super important for us to do this with you every month, and we've been doing it for at least a couple years now, which I think has been awesome. Dan, you've been traveling a lot. What's going on with you?
Well, as you know, Mary, first of all, it's great to be here as always. It's always a great time to get the questions from the community, talk about some of the stuff we're doing. And of course, it's always a pleasure to share the stage with you, Mary, as I got to do last week, where we were both at St. Jude Play Live. And my first time at St. Jude Play Live. And for those that don't know, what it is, they have an event at the beginning of their annual Play Live time period where people are raising money for St. Jude, where they invite a number of the creators that have been raising money for St. Jude. And first of all, it was just super special to be at St. Jude because everything that they do is really astounding, and it really helps you get perspective on your life when you understand some of the challenges that some of the patients at St. Jude go through.
Yeah, it's a really special event that I've been fortunate to go to for many years now on behalf of our work at Twitch. And you can see there Dan giving a check for 5K to Stuff of Anime. This is a really sweet thing that Twitch has been doing for a long time, which is streamers use their platform, their Twitch platform, to raise money for St. Jude. And Twitch shows up every year and we help support creators do what they love. There's Dan giving a check for Goobers. Goober does a lot of fundraising for St. Jude. I know he's raised over $450,000 for St. Jude, if you can believe that. And so this is an incredible thing that creators do year over year to help fight childhood cancer, which is, I think, something we can all get behind. And so really cool to see Dan be able to go and spread this love around and also donate to an amazing cause. We'll continue to donate to St. Jude during the rest of the Play Live event. So anyone who doesn't know, it is super easy for you to fundraise on Twitch if you're interested in learning more. We even have our own way to fundraise on Twitch, but you can use Tiltify. You can use so many different services and help raise money to St. Jude. So if you're interested, look it up, get involved. It's awesome. Dan, I'm really glad you did that. That was really fun.
Yeah, and for clarity for those people who might not follow, the checks we're giving them are not to them. It's checks that are going to go to St. Jude as part of their fundraising activity. And of course, the creators that participate this, the amount they're able to raise is really a badge of honor for them because they work so hard. And so by contributing to their effort this year, that's sort of just kicks them off and gets them going. I think the stat that really blew me away was that Twitch streamers had raised 68 million over the years for St. Jude. And of course, some of that is big streamers. Dr. Lupo is, of course, a very notable streamer that has worked very hard for St. Jude. But a huge portion of that come from small streamers that might raise 1,000 or 500 or 2,000 or something like that. And so you hear these big numbers like Goobers, who raised 450,000 over the years. But the thing that is really striking is the number of small streamers that have done their part by working. And so if you're out there and don't be caught up in how much you can raise, because it's just being part of it where you feel part of that really special community.
I think that's really well said, and we'll continue to support St. Jude throughout the Play Live season. If you choose to raise money for St. Jude or any charity, use the hashtag charity, which helps us find you and donate to your charity on behalf of Twitch. We've already committed to over $100,000 to St. Jude this year, but we actually donate to all sorts of charities all over the year, and I usually find you by using the tag charity while you're live streaming. That's how we find you. Okay, so that's a really good inside trick. You'll hear a lot more
Mary,
about.
Mary, you should talk.
Yes, Dan.
You should talk about the new global emote so that everybody can start testing it out.
I appreciate that. I actually saw a couple people using it in chat. I saw Smirky using it.
Yes.
So if you all want to use Fever Fighter in chat, I'll tell you a little bit about the story of Fever Fighter. That is actually art from a patient, a child patient at St. Jude. This artwork was made 13 years ago from a kid who was obviously fighting cancer and used the Fever Fighter as kind of an emblem of fighting a lot of the things that happen when you are fighting cancer, and it's become a beacon of hope for a lot of patients. And it's actually it's just a really cool piece of artwork. And so we encourage you to use Fever Fighter in chat to show your support for St. Jude and the community, and also find a creator who's raising money for St. Jude and stop by while they're fundraising this season.
Great.
Thanks for all
right,
Fever
Mary.
Fighters.
Yeah, it's great to see it there. All right, Mary. As always, we work to try and answer a lot of your questions. So put exclamation point ask. We have a team that's trying to pull them out, and that helps them pick out the ones that they should put in the queue, so we can try to get to all of them.
It's true. And we usually answer questions towards the end of the show. So even if you've asked your question and you haven't seen us bring it up and answer it, it doesn't mean that we won't answer it. We just usually hold questions towards the end of the show, unless they're very specifically targeted towards Dan. Maybe he'll pull them out for whatever reason. I've seen him do it before.
It's our tactic to get them to stay around. We like to keep them to stay around, so we
Yeah, it's important. So with that, let's get started and let's get to some of the stuff that's going on, because we have actually a pretty interesting show. And I'm really excited to talk to you guys about some of the stuff we're going to talk about today. So last year at TwitchCon San Diego, we released a teaser about a community-driven version of our Power-Ups product. It's a bits-powered update. It's a little bit hype train. It's a little bit cheering, but it's a lot of fun, and we're finally ready to show you some more stuff and talk about it. So without further ado, to talk about combos, please everybody give a nice warm welcome to Mael.
Hi guys.
Welcome, Mael. Welcome to Patch Notes. I know it's your first time on the show. So let's first find out a little bit more about who you are, your background, and what you do here at Twitch.
Yeah, for sure. As you mentioned, first time on Patch Notes. I'm beyond nervous, so please be nice with me.
Everyone be nice to Mael.
Exactly. Or not, but whatever. So I'm a commerce PM here. I'm a product manager. I work on designing new products to generate revenue for creators, and I think that's something that I find super exciting when I go to work. This idea of I'm gonna help the community and make sure that they make a ton of money and have fun doing it. So I think that's one of the key elements.
Great. So Mael, are you more nervous to be on TwitchCon than you are when you're doing a review with me of the work that you're doing? Okay, no, don't answer it. I don't want to hear the answer. Okay. Let's get going. Okay, so combos. Why don't you just give us an overview of what motivated this and what is a combo, so everybody gets the high level information.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm super excited to talk about it, because it's been, as Mary mentioned, it's been a long time coming. So here on the commerce team, one of the core thing that we do is we want to make spending on Twitch so much fun, and that's our core mission at the moment. It's let's make sure that spending is fun for everyone. So one of the key things we've been working on is getting more people to spend small amounts, and Mary called that the power-ups. So last year we launched power-ups, and for those who don't know what they are, they're the on-screen celebrations with the little emotes that are coming up. We got the gigantify your emote in chat, and some messages highlight that you can do with it using your bits. And so that was the first way for us to let's bring some more fun activity with spending. And so one of the other part of this is we've been looking at mobile traffic, and we see that there's like a lot of growth coming from mobile, and that they're more and more a significant part of the viewers for like a lot of creators, and they represent a slightly younger audience, and we find that it's like complicated to interact with a lot of our commerce products on mobile. And so one thing that we wanted to bring this like sort of how do I interact with the community on mobile, as well as like in a very like communal fashion. So one of the key thing is combo, like the sort of heart of it is you think about hype train and like this communal element and cheering, and you like marry both together, and so you have this action that you can do really as a community to like celebrate the streamer.
This sounds really exciting. I'm sure everybody wants to know a little bit more about how they work. Can you tell me a little bit more, like practically, actually, how it functions?
Yes. So yes, I realized that this was a little more like, oh, this is the aspirational vague thing. Let's go into details. So
Sure.
when you're watching a stream, you with your combos toggled on, you can see like a little icon next to the chat bar, and when you tap on that icon, it opens up the combo tray. And so then you can tap on a combo, and with that, you'll see a pill show up on screen, starting to count the number of taps that the community did. So as soon as you're tapping on this, a pill shows up for everyone in the stream, and so everyone can join on that combo and keep adding to it. As the counter goes up, you trigger like small, then large, then very large animations, depending on like the threshold that are hit. So, for example, yes, this I really love this one. This is the cat for me. And I think that kind of shows like what happens at like a certain threshold of animations. Right? So that's kind of how the feature works.
Go ahead, Mael. Talk about the different graphics that we're seeing and how we're thinking about that.
Yeah, so we want to represent different emotions with this, and like have like one for each like cool thing that's happening on stream. Again, like a lot of it is about the community experiencing a moment together and like piling on that moment. And so we're launching at first 3 distinct combos. The first one being a heart that represents sort of like this love and like general like positiveness. Then the cat that you just saw that is like I think my favorite, the like with little eyes and like oh. And then the last one we're releasing is a dino dance. Yeah, exactly that one.
Mary's favorite.
So,
Mary's favorite. She's a big dino.
I love
dancer.
a dino. We also have a gold dino in chat specifically for anyone who follows /Twitch. So if you want to throw some gold dinos in chat, but this is like such a good example of it. If we can keep spamming it, thank you, Mark, because like a huge value out of this is it's just kind of like confetti for your stream. It's essentially like your ability to tap and impact the visuals on the stream in real time. We've always found that chat is a core component of the live stream experience. It's not just the streamer. They're interacting with chat. Chat is in chat doing their thing, adding their own emotes, and now you actually have the ability to impact the visual elements of the stream. So it's just kind of a bit of peanut butter and jelly here. We're kind of mashing 2 beautiful things together to see what comes out of it. And it's exciting. It's a really nice update.
Well, in fact, one thing and Mael talked about this, that for many of the folks that, and probably many of the folks that are watching this right now are kind of traditional Twitch user is predominantly a PC gamer. And they spend a fair amount of time watching Twitch at home on their PC with a large screen. And of course, they have chat right there. And as we know, a big part about chat isn't just what people are saying. It's the emotions that are expressed, where you get this sense, this visceral feeling of what the community is experiencing. Now, and some people don't fully realize that because they don't spend a ton of time watching Twitch on mobile because they spend so much time on desktop. But for newer users, more and more mobile is a primary way in which they're engaging with Twitch. if they're holding the screen in landscape, which a lot of people do when they're watching, the chat isn't always open. They're focusing on the screen, and you lose a little bit of that emotion that is happening. And I think one of the nice things as we think about this, you want to get that sense of communal feeling. And the thing I'm particularly excited about, what I have found is the things that work on Twitch are the things that the community requires the community. So of course, Hype Train is a great example of that. I think shared chat is a good example of that, where shared chat made a huge difference in terms of stream together adoption. Similarly, with bits right now, celebrations are good. Cheering is good, but cheering is an individual act. And the reason Hype Trains work so well is it's a communal act, as a community saying something. And so that's, Mary talked about this being a little bit Hype Train. I think of these as mini Hype Trains because they're mini moments where the community is coming together. And so that's why I'm very bullish, because I think it, it leans into that communal expression of their excitement of what's happening.
Now, while we're talking about this, I'm sure people will ask, why are we releasing something like this type of the product, this experience now? Why is this the time?
Yeah, so the way we're thinking about it is like our existing products, in particular subs and gifting in that sense, they're amazing for when we have a strong community connection, right? And subbing can feel like a big commitment for someone who's new and to the channel or to Twitch, and subs and bits are also like very chat centric. So that's kind of like the core thing of it. And so we're trying to give something that is, again, as Dan mentioned and insisted on, like very much like mobile friendly, because we have so many viewers on mobile and we want to give them that sense of community on mobile and a fun way to interact and contribute. So whether you're new to Twitch, new to the channel, with chat or not chat, we want you to be able to like be part of the community and interact in that way. And that's, again, like I'm going to repeat Hype Train, I'm going to repeat community, the things that which was just said. It's very much this idea that we want people to be able to contribute together.
Yeah. All right. So I anticipate some streamers, because of what they're doing at a point in time, they may be anxious about the visual effects and how intrusive they are. And just talk about how you're thinking about that and, controls that streamers have.
Yeah. We've talked so much internally about this. This has been like a key focus for us and a key learning from power-ups. We've taken the feedback from power-ups and we've kept iterating and iterating. So for us, one of the key ways we're working on this is streamers will be able to define the difficulty. The number of combos needed to trigger certain animations. And that means, by number of combos, I mean number of revenue, number of dollar coming to you, right? The right threshold is different for every streamer. And so we know we're not gonna get it right for everyone, and that's why we want to expose as much control as possible for this. We do know that we can get very close to a good difficulty setting, and so that's why we're doing a closed beta first, working with streamers, making sure that we get the feedback, understand exactly the usage, and as we ramp up over the next few months, we will get to like a right pricing curve for everyone and leaving controls for anyone.
Yeah, you have to have feedback in order for something like this to function. We're going to definitely be working with creators, to make sure that you feel comfortable with how much you're doing this. And we also recognize that not every time is like the perfect time to have this on, which is why it should be like a pretty simple toggle system for, let's say I'm going live, but I have a very serious issue to address with my community. I'm not going to go live on Thursdays anymore because I'm changing up my schedule and I don't want a bunch of distractions. So I can toggle it off. I can have that serious conversation with my community, and then I can turn it back on while I'm playing Dark Souls so you guys can annoy me. I think that makes a lot of sense for me as a streamer, and I think we want to be able to give streamers that type of control. But what about the viewers? Will they have control over their viewing experience?
Yeah, so we've built combos with viewer experience in mind, and there will be viewer side control to limit animations, keep them, and so that's something that we're constantly thinking about.
All right. Yeah, I think the key thing that we're, trying to emphasize here is this idea of control, right? And
Mhm.
I think Mary said it well, where certain streams may not be right for this. So great, you're in control as a streamer and what works for the community. And then in terms of how do we think of users in terms of different issues that they might have. So, and that is one reason, and Mael talked about this, but we're going to talk about how we're rolling it out, but really emphasize a big part of our rollout strategy is try to learn this and evolve. So briefly, why don't you just talk about rev share, since I think that might be a question some people have.
Yeah,
I suspect people will have a question about Rev. Yeah.
yeah, and honestly, that's like the easiest question for me to answer because this is using bits. So 100% of the bits spent on combo go to the creator. There's no change on how bits are purchased, no change on how they're paid out. It's just a new way to use them.
Great. So just to reiterate, streamers have always gotten 100% of the bits spent, and that is the exact same in combos. You get 100% of the bits. This is just a new way to use bits. So hopefully that helps clarify. Now, probably a big question, when is combos launching?
Yeah, I mean, it's the reason I'm here. I'm super excited to talk about this. It's finally launching next week. So early next week, we're gonna start a closed beta with a few streamers that we're working with. Then we're gonna, over the next few months, expand the list of streamers that have access to this. And so we're gonna work with the creators and the community to iterate on the feature with them. Like we, again, cannot emphasize enough how much we want this to be built with the community and make sure that we get this right. So if you want to get access to this, there is a form in chat somewhere. I don't know where's chat, but fill out the form and you can get on the wait list and get access to this. Of course, we're going to iterate on many aspects of the feature. We're going to be adding new combo as we go. We're excited to see what the community does with them, and we're expecting a full rollout by fall, if not sooner. Exciting.
Great. All
I'm so
right.
excited.
So I know you've been working on it for a while, and in fact, talking about the reviews, it's one that we have worked hard to iterate on, and y'all are hoping to get it out earlier, but you've really worked hard to try and get to start it at the right spot, and then to iterate. So tell us about the name, Mael. It sounds familiar.
That's a curveball. So for those who don't know what Dan is referring to, last week we learned that YouTube launched a similar product with the same name. So yeah. So how do I think about the name? Well, I'd summarize it as like great minds think alike, but more seriously, I think it's overall a positive thing for the viewers, for the community, because that just means that the similar product has the same name across different platforms, makes it easier to talk about, makes it easier for adoption. So I think it's a positive thing.
Yeah, I think it's
Very serious.
interesting because when that news came out, my Ellen team spent a fair amount of time trying to come up with the name. They had a bunch of options. They talked to streamers. They got feedback. All this process, and in fact, they went through a few different names. And I think it kind of, in the end, it works well, as you said, because it's better if
Yep.
similar products have similar names. It's much easier for viewers than everybody needing to come up with their own name that is different, and you have to say, "Oh, this is like this." Anyone, myself having worked at YouTube a long time ago, I know we all have to learn that subscribe means something different on YouTube than everywhere else,
Yeah.
than on Twitch, and that we all know the difference. But you take someone who doesn't know these platforms, and they get confused, right? So, all right, I think this is great, Mael. We'll bring you back for questions, Mary. Anything else you think we need to cover before Mael steps away and we go on to some of the other stuff?
I think we had a really good cover, and I saw some pretty good questions. I'd love to put those in our question docket so we can get to them. it's very exciting. I do just have one that I'm just going to throw out here because I think it's fun, from Joshua BZZ. When you roll out new features, how do you decide who gets this new shiny stuff? Are users handpicked or selected at random? How do you decide who gets in these fancy betas, these popular ways that you can try new features?
I'll go ahead and answer that, actually, because there's a general question. Mael can talk about combos, right? Yeah. But in general, it's different for each feature, right? Because some features in this one, Mael, talk about this combos, and then I'll talk more generally.
Yeah, so for this one, the way we're approaching it is we're starting with streamers that are part of our ambassador group that are like very close to Twitch, and we partner with often. And then after that, so this is like what we're talking about, like this sort of very closed beta. Then we're expanding to like the wait list and making sure that we get all the people that are really excited about the feature to get access to it, and so we can hear their feedback early. And then after that, we're going to start rolling out to like a more general public using like smaller percentage of streamers based on like certain criteria where we think the feature is going to be working well for them, and so we can get that feedback as well. And then as we progress, we'll have more and more people in.
Yeah, in fact, part of what we need to do is think both of when we get opt-in, where someone's saying, I want to use it, when we have to limit it. In a perfect world, we don't, but sometimes we do, like with the enhanced broadcasting beta. A lot of times we had to limit it because there's complexities and costs of managing it. And then we also have times where we need to opt people in, because it's really important to get feedback from people that didn't raise their hands. And that we just turn on the feature for, because it's very different feedback in terms of how they use it, how their audience assumes it, and so in this case, we'll be using a blend where we'll have both people that raise their hands and say, I want to be in, and then people that we put in the experiment, and then we grow that. So I'm glad this time we should be able to fairly quickly accommodate anyone that raises their hand and say, I want to use it. I think it'll be fairly quickly when we will get them on it. So, all right, Mael, this has been great. Thank you for joining in, and we'll get you to come back for questions.
All right, awesome. Thank you very much.
See you in a bit. Really great and exciting stuff. We're going to talk about a couple more updates and hopefully have lots of time for your questions, because we can see them coming in here. I got a cute one from Lord Supreme Kara just asking, Dan, how you doing? Like, how's it going? I feel like people always ask, where is Dan? They don't ask, how is Dan?
Thank you. Well, actually, it's going well. It's interesting. I have not been able to stream nearly as much because I'll travel and then I'll be home for 3 days and then I'll be gone. And whenever I'm doing that, then usually I won't stream at home, because when I stream at home, I'm doing it in the night, and usually I'll just be spending time, family or other things like that. But, a fair amount of the travel ends up I'm getting to engage with streamers. So that's been great. The St. Jude trip was great. So life is good. Life is good, but glad. Very, very busy.
Yeah, same. We are busy. And with that, I'm going to get to our next topic, because it talks a lot about something we've been very busy with this year, clips. This is kind of almost a recurring segment now, because we have promised a lot more updates with clips, and we have some.
Yes, we do have some. So we're going to give you a sneak peek into a few clips experiments that are coming in the next month, just to give you a sense so that when you see them, you know what's coming.
Okay, so to start, we want to do a better job at rewarding and recognizing viewers who clip great moments, because it's actually one of the best ways to support your favorite streamers. We often talk about, if you don't want to financially support, or you can't financially support your favorite creator, like, how do you just show support? Well, first of all, watching is super valuable. Second of all, chatting is super valuable, because you're helping create their community and making it a warm and welcoming place to be. But one we just don't talk about enough is clipping. Every time you clip, you're supporting the creator too. You're sharing how amazing they are to the public. So we want to support clippers doing what they do best. to do that, we're going to start rolling out clip leaderboards to channels with access to leaderboards over the next several weeks. The most viewed clips created during a leaderboard cycle will land a spot on the new Clips leaderboard. Streamers can set their leaderboard cycle to daily, weekly, monthly, or all time. Pretty exciting stuff and a great way to reward your community for being active clippers.
Yep. So viewers with clips in the top 3 spots on the leaderboard will be rewarded with a top clipper chat badge. And they can use that in the channel for as long as they retain their spot on the leaderboard. So this is an interesting thing where you'll have a badge for a while and someone else will get the badge, and then someone else, which I think will be fun as we see the badges move around. Streamers will be notified when new clips reaches a leaderboard in their activity feed, so they can watch a clip and shout out their viewers for helping them grow their community by having made a top clip. And I will throw in here the other part we've been doing, in addition to creating clips, we've been trying to make it much easier for viewers to share clips of their favorite creators. Creators control whether or not their viewers can do this, but in today's world, a big part of kind of maintaining that attachment for your creator isn't just them sharing their moments on third-party social media, but often it's their viewers doing it. So that feature, and as you know, we've been working on that, and going to keep working on that.
Yeah, I think that it's a culture change, which is hard to do, but we often reward the streamer when their clip goes viral. It's an easy thing to do and talk about them. We use Twitch Public Access to hype up our top 5 clips of the month. But the reality is that those clips wouldn't have happened if the clipper didn't do the clip. So we are going to start rewarding people who are clipping too, just to make sure that we're spreading that level around and just like rewarding people for supporting these creators. It's awesome. And to do that work, we also need to make clipping easier. So we're going to make it possible to create a clip just by typing /clip in chat. The command will open the clip editor where you can add a title to save and publish the clip. We're also working on making clipping less disruptive to your viewing experience. So starting next month, some of you will notice that when you clip, the clipping flow will open up right next to your stream instead of taking you to a new tab. That way you can actually still watch the streamer streaming while you're making your clip. You can see a little picture-in-picture next to me here. That's pretty nice. Finally, we're shipping some improvements to the clip manager on mobile, including adding a search bar and filters to let you more easily find and manage the clips from your phone. This one will roll out to everyone, so look for those changes in a couple of weeks. This one's awesome for someone like me who has 8 years of clips and wants to find a very specific clip of my dog being cute in the background. I can literally search for my dog's name, Simone, and that makes it so much easier for me to find those clips. So this is a huge win to people who have just way too many clips, honestly, and want to pull something out.
Yeah, and for those streamers
finally.
out there, for those streamers out there, one of the things that we've been trying to focus on is make it easier, especially for you to share clips with your community. And we've seen some success in this. We're going to do some more. In particular, I always encourage folks after a stream to try to get a few of their best moments in stories. I think that's the best use of stories, so that those people who missed your stream can kind of catch up on what they missed. And then also you can get feedback as to which of those clips you then might want to share to third-party social media. And so one of the features that I know is on your stream summary. We try to pick out what some of your top clips are, so that after your stream, we can figure out what are some of those moments so that you can quickly share after your stream. Because I know in my experience, if I don't do it shortly after a stream, if I don't get to it before the next stream, I'm not going to do it because there's just too much going on.
Yeah, I think that's true. I mean, I usually stream after I work. And so if I've just worked for 8 hours and then I stream for 3 hours, I'm not like, what can I do in the next hour to help make sure I have the memories of the stream? I'm out. I'm going to eat dinner and I'm going to go watch TV. I'm done. So we want to make this something that feels really convenient and casual, so you can get it done while you're streaming or have your community support you while you're streaming so that you can enjoy your life. This is a part of one of many updates that we're going to do for clipping to make it more seamless, to make it easier to make them, to share them, and to find them. And ultimately, and hopefully the goal is that more people find out how amazing you are during these clips, and then they come and find you live on Twitch. We really focused on that live experience and that interactive experience, but we know clips is like a perfect way to discover you. So we're going to continue to work on clips, and there will be more coming. I know these are some really exciting updates. I'm watching like chat get really excited, and that makes me so happy. There's more coming. So please continue to watch patch notes. You can follow /Twitch so that you can see more updates as we have them. And for a lot of people, I'm also seeing a lot of Q&A in chat, which is very exciting. We are collecting all of your questions. We're going to answer them at the very end of the show. So please stick around. Don't go anywhere. We're going to add all of these into our Q&A section at the very end of the show and make sure we answer as many of your questions as humanly possible. Like Falcor 4284. The room Mary Kish is in looks like a room from Blueprints. Lots of doors. Just saying. I'm playing so much Blueprints right now. I'm like actually like so obsessed with that game, and I think it's like one of the best games of 2025. So I can talk to you for hours about Blueprints, but that's not what the show is about. So I'm gonna move on.
That's what Mary's stream is about. So check it out. All right.
Yeah,
Next
I always
update,
play a new
Mary.
indie game. Yeah, let's talk about another update. Thank you for keeping me on track, Dan. I'll get sidetracked and talk to you about Blueprints.
Normally that's your job. That's your job with me.
I know, I hold you in. This is it. Wait, we're switching places today. Okay, so in case you missed it, we announced a 30-day extension for streamers who are over the new highlights and uploads storage limit. If people did not know, there is a new limit for highlights and storage. Not VODs entirely, just highlights and uploads, but this absolutely impacts a lot of you. So streamers now have until May 19th, 2025 to get under 100 hours of highlights and uploads before auto deletion begins.
Yeah. And so we know the change's been tough, and we're going to keep working with you on the timing and the transition. We've worked a lot on trying to improve the quality of download speeds. I've gotten feedback that it is going much better. Also expanded the bulk selection from 20 to 100. And there are a lot of third-party apps that have been developed to help you do it so you don't have to be sitting there. So we are glad about that. We're going to be monitoring this. Don't sit around and don't do it, but so get to it. Find where you're going to go, be it YouTube or on your own platform, because we understand it's important for you to save these. And so right now the new date is May 19th, and hopefully everything will work out where you can get your stuff transitioned.
Yeah. The easiest way for you to know if you're over is to go to your video producer in the creator dashboard. Go to your creator dashboard and check out videos. It will tell you. It's pretty obvious. Mine was pretty glaring and was like, you are over. It was like red. I had to do it too. I use this as a great opportunity to download a lot of my old VODs that I really don't watch on Twitch. And I put them on my YouTube channel. It makes sense for it to go there. So hopefully this extension helps a lot of you with this process. But your video producer tab is the best place for you to find out if this impacts you.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Dan.
I think, Mary, we're ready for Q&As now, right? All right.
We are pretty much. Are you gonna? Okay, we're gonna switch over into Q&A mode. These questions come from you guys live, and because a lot of them, I suspect, or at least a couple of them, will be regarding combos, we're gonna need Mael to come back here. So can we please have Mael come back? Hi.
Hi, I'm back.
You're back.
I never truly left.
Thank you so much. You were somewhere in the internet ether, and we've pulled you back in to answer these important questions. I'm going to send you a couple your way. This first one comes from ETC Fox. Will all power-ups combos cost bits? Will small streamers be able to put in at 0 bits to encourage community interaction? So 2 separate questions here.
So will combos cost bits? Will all combos cost bits? The answer is yes. All combos will cost bits. We do not plan to offer changing the bits price of those combos to creators, so that is not going to be an option. I think
What
that's
do
the
you think
clearest
is
answer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
no,
can't
I think that
explain
is a
more.
clear answer.
I think that is a clear
um,
answer. Now, I do think there is this idea of, we are looking at this idea of possibly having a feature that's like combos that would be free, but that we want to
yeah,
distinguish a combo because that way a combo viewers always understand that's a paid interaction, and it's confusing if
Mhm.
sometimes it's paid, sometimes it's not. So yes, combos will be paid interactions. Um, and I'm stating the stuff that Mael, just make sure everyone's clear. It may be that the thresholds to reach may be different from
animations.
channel to channel,
Yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
it may take more on a bigger channel. It's going to take more people, more money to get to a threshold. So that will vary by channel.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so
All right.
to clarify, all combos cost bits. My follow-up question to that though is like, is there like a set minimum? What about like 1 bit? That's just helpful context.
Yeah, no, sorry. So back to the second part of this answer was we will not allow changing the price of the combos. So
Got
it will be
Okay.
the price we might iterate during the beta, but the price will be fixed for everyone.
Okay. This next question comes from Barry. This is Barry's beloved contributor here and a Twitch ambassador. Will we have day 0 API support? Oh, Barry, you and your API support for combos so that we can build integrated support and overlays and notify streamers accordingly via their usual methods?
That's actually a very good question. I think that there's a larger question, which is how will I know this is happening as a streamer? And we haven't truly touched about that during this patch note. So one of the thing that we're introducing with the combos is a way for you to experience a version of it live as a creator, right? So above the activity feed, we're introducing this new model that lets you see when a combo is starting and see you when the threshold is hit, like what the animation looks like on a smaller scale, which lets you know, okay, who's the main contributors to that combo and everything. A lot of like smaller info for you to be able to recognize. In terms of API integration, so we have a few things out of the gate, and I need to go back and look at exactly what we have. I'm sorry, I need to follow up on that question. I don't want to.
Well, I will say,
misspeak.
Barry, one way that we sometimes think about this, I think this is a fair characterization of when we get to launch. We want to make sure that you don't need to use third-party customizations for combos to work for you, but we want to give you the flexibility to do it. So sometimes we want to get the feature right, especially because as third-party developers develop, you don't want to be changing things. So especially as we're iterating on something, we might not start with it in the API, but then we'll quickly follow with it in the API. And we want to make sure that some of you want to do your own things, which is great and we love, but we don't want to make it that you need to do that because we haven't done something in the baseline.
Yeah, 100%.
But generally speaking, we are planning on having some API support when we roll combos out to everyone. So we are thinking about API support.
Yeah, we will. I mean, the timing is the question, but we will be getting to API support over time.
Yes.
Great. Yeah. Hopefully that helps answer your question, Barry. Great. Those are the only questions I saw for combos, which means you did an excellent job covering combos and answering everybody's questions in advance. So I think that was awesome. Mael, do you have anything else that you want to say or just add to anyone at home?
I'm very excited for next week when people can experience them on some channels, and I'm looking forward for like all the people that signed up for the waitlist to onboard them and hear the feedback. It's such a exciting moment for a product manager when their product goes live, and this is like this is so exciting.
That is so exciting. We really appreciate you coming on, and I also just want to remind everybody about the closed beta wait list again. Can you remind everybody one more time, and we'll put that pin up so that people can learn more about it?
Yes, please sign up for the the beta. We're starting next week. We're gonna start letting people in as they come on a regular basis. We are super excited to share this feature with you and gather the feedback. So excited. Please join. Please come check my feature out.
Please come check out Mael's feature out. Thank you so much for being on the show, Mael. And if we do get any more questions, we'll chuck you back in, but you're probably good for right now. So thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you. Awesome being here.
Thank you. Really cool to see such a good community response. I love seeing like the positivity in chat. I'm going to keep going just because we have a lot of questions today. This one came from Lady Snick. This is about clips. Forgive my confusion. I thought you had to be a mod with the streamer to do a clip. That's actually not the case, but we do have certain creators. They can limit the ability for who can clip based on their own privacy or security reasons. But anyone can create clips on Twitch. There are certain channels where streamers have decided to turn off clip creation on their channel. They can do that based on following them or subscription status. I have often found that if I try to clip a channel and it says, you can't do that on this channel, if I follow the creator, then I can clip. That's just, I've seen a lot of creators do that. I don't know the statistics off the top of my head, but I traditionally make sure that I follow a channel before I clip because that helps my likelihood that I can clip their channel. But in theory, you can clip any channel at any time unless that creator has changed that setting. Okay, so Laura Croft 1234 has asked, could you recommend the adoption of Twitch RPG, and to what extent are the insights gleaned from completed surveys both utilized and instrumental in guiding Twitch's ongoing development? Dan, this might be for you.
Yeah, it probably is. And by the way, Mary, but you may have this because I do our insights. I'm not matching. Of course, when I hear RPG, I think role-playing game.
I do too.
Now okay, so maybe you're doing. I'm not matching the acronym, okay, but we do a number of surveys and insights. Okay, so I'll focus on that, and there's probably one of them that we call RPG, and that's the acronym. And if I saw the full name, then I'm like, oh, that one. But we absolutely use the feedback that we get from the various surveys we do.
We do.
We have a team that both collects stuff to give us kind of numeric analysis. Okay, and then also oftentimes we ask for specific fields and other things, and then they spend time with that. We both the team works hard because part of what you need to do is both find a way to structure it to kind of quantify and rate things while also just taking the raw feedback. So it is something that we use fairly extensively to get feedback on specific issues where we have specific questions. So thank you for any of you that provide that feedback.
I use it all the time. And I'll give you some examples of that. But like, if you ever get an email that's like, oh, hey, do you want to answer a couple questions in a survey? When you're doing that, it pulls all of that data and helps us understand sentiment for our programs, or whether or not you feel like Twitch is assisting with your growth as a streamer. I use it to help determine what types of areas we should be focusing on with Creator Camp. That's our education area on Twitch. You can go to creatorcamp.twitch.tv and learn more about best practices for streamers. And those have been constructed in connection with these surveys to say, where do you need more support? Where do you feel like you're lost and you don't know how to use Twitch? So we use them all the time. We've also used a lot of our survey data to know about which areas of creators need more support in terms of like underrepresented groups and things like that. So our Women's Guild, our Black Guild, those were really formed out of survey data. So we really appreciate you doing your part and filling out the survey data. The last thing I'll say about this, and I know I'm a little of a broken record, but if you're a streamer, if you go to your creator dashboard, there's literally a survey in the creator dashboard that lets us know a little bit about your personal data. That really helps us to know about the types of audiences we have at Twitch And that helps me do a better job of fighting for your rights and your needs as a creator. So please fill out the creator survey and your creator dashboard. You should be able to see it if you go to your creator dashboard. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Phoenix Fontaine, I like literally say it every time. If you guys had a bingo card, it would be on there. Phoenix Fontaine says, bits give permanent access to some emotes at a certain net threshold. Would you ever consider emotes for subscriptions at certain support thresholds, like 1 year, 3 year, etc.?
Yeah. So let's see. Always thinking about how to make being a member of the community more rewarding. I think the question of launch emotes for affiliate, turbo, substreak, certainly something that we're thinking about. And I think the idea of for subscriptions at certain support thresholds. The interesting thing, what you're suggesting here, I think there is support thresholds. Okay, but I think you mean duration. You know, would you ever consider emotes for subscriptions at certain, because then you say like 1 year, 3 year, etc., right? So that you know, you can kind of give special consideration for those people that are sustained supporters of a community. So I think that's an interesting idea. Thanks for the suggestion, Phoenix Fontaine. So
cool. Dan, do you want to get to this next one from I'm Big Daddy's
sure.
dad?
Why? All right, there you go. That's who they are.
Yeah.
Why are there no channel badges for donations? Such strong support is not recognized. Actually, we do offer emote rewards for sending bits to streamers. And actually, the answer they're putting here doesn't quite address it, what they're saying. We have, in terms of donations, we have recently launched actually some badges for the charity tool. Mary, why don't you explain what's happening with that?
Sure. It can be conflated because there are donations that you can give to a streamer directly, which this would not cover.
They
but
may be,
just so you know,
right. I think when they're saying donations here, they mean charity, although it's tough to tell. Let's
I think they
assume
mean to a streamer,
charity
but I
donation.
think it's worth to do both anyway. So we do badges if you donate to charity, but for a specific period of time. When we do Together for Good, which is a charity campaign we usually do in the fourth quarter of every year, you'll see like marketing for it when we do it. But if you donate even like $5, you get a badge for donating to charity, as long as you're doing it through the Twitch charity tool. And there's different levels of badges. If you donate $10, if you donate $25. And what's really neat about this is if you use the Twitch charity tool, even if you do like $5 to one creator and $10 to another creator and $10 to another creator, we actually add it up and give you the $25 donation badge. So there are badges for donations, but let's say, Dan,
Let's
that
go.
This is a donation for a streamer directly.
Yeah, and I think that is one thing in terms of badging for your support for streamers. That's something we always try to figure out when's a good way to acknowledge people, especially ones that provide ongoing support. And the answer they suggest here is talking about, we do have emote rewards for sending bits, but I think this is more about badging, and I do think that's one thing we're continually looking at about when you want to acknowledge someone. And this, in some ways, it's related to subscribing for 1 to 3 years. It's ideas for, how to give a badge for sustained or outsized support for a streamer.
Correct. Okay. Next question from Mootsie. Will there be a way to share an edit version of a clip via link? Currently, only Landscape has that option. You should be able to share an edited clip, edited and portrait clip with a link today from both mobile and web. So I'm so sorry that it took a little bit of time. We are constantly working on updating our ability to give you way more control over that. But today, good news, you should be able to share edited and portrait clips with a link today from both mobile and web, and more updates coming.
Right. And really, one way to think of this is when you're there's one thing about downloading and then sharing it, in which case then you need the vertical or portrait, because then you're getting the artifact. When you're sharing a link, the way it should eventually work is, because that's a link that comes back to Twitch. And so what
Right.
we should do is then, depending upon the context, which one of these versions of the clip is the right thing for a viewer at that point in time, right? Because if I'm standing there and I'm holding my phone like this, then the vertical one will be better. And I think one thing that we've talked about, interestingly, nobody has questions about this one, but we did have a number of questions about 2K, which I will get to because I remember seeing them. I don't see them right now in the spreadsheet. Once we go to supporting vertical video, where streamers can give us two feeds, both a landscape and a vertical video, then that will even make our vertical clips better because the streamer will have created a vertical. So it'll be much easier to make sure every clip has both a good vertical and a good landscape version. So that way, whichever way you are, holding the phone,
Is the way
or
you
if you're
see
on
the
a
clip.
desktop, it's right. A desktop, usually landscape is going to be better because that's the way desktops. I will mention again, this may be lower in the spreadsheet, but this summer is when we're moving to roll out enhanced broadcasting more in terms of HEVC and 2K. So we'll have more to come about specific timing on that. But we'll be having an announcement before too long about when we're expanding that to everyone, which is sort of an important step as we get to vertical video, because the first thing we're going to do is get out 2K and HEVC support for everybody using enhanced broadcasting. And then that leads to vertical video. And so it's really important for us to get more people adopting enhanced broadcasting because that then makes it easier for people to transition to give us vertical video, which I think will be really beneficial for the experience.
Good answer. I hope it's Baba TV. It might be Boba TV. I just want to say thank you for rating. And I also see your TwitchCon 2025 Rotterdam badge. That looks pretty good on you. So that's a good reminder that if you are going to TwitchCon Rotterdam, you should be getting your TwitchCon Rotterdam exclusive badge, just like Boba has. So check it out. Go check out TwitchCon to see if you can get your exclusive badge. Next question is from Zafar1. Are there any plans to allow you to configure the stream streak test? I've had people lose their stream streaks, for example, when I stream outside my normal schedule sometimes, and would like the ability to configure it to exclude certain streams.
Yeah. In fact, this is one of the reasons why we haven't rolled out stream streaks to everyone is we have to solve this problem. And we have a few different thoughts on terms of how to solve this problem. One of them is for you to possibly exclude streams. The other way is also find a way for them to check in to still get credit even if they miss it. But so far, you've highlighted what is absolutely an issue. And so we do have plans to find a way to fix this problem. And in fact, that's one reason it hasn't been rolled out to everyone, because we feel like we need to fix this problem before we go to 100%.
That's super fair. I see the Dynamite Twins in chat saying, even for streaks where people show up, sometimes they don't last and people are sad about it. Super fair. We got to take all that feedback into account. And that's a really, really, really good reason why we beta test things, because that would be not good if that was happening for everybody. So thanks for the feedback.
All right. So Mary, why don't we go now? I'm going to,
you want to go through these fast?
I'll go ahead. Well, I will go ahead and pick out the ones that I think, we have a, good answer to or something to say there.
I hear you.
So, any plans on improving channel points in the future? Okay. There's overlap conceptually between the custom power-ups and channel points. The short answer is, we don't have short-term plans. That's not because we don't love channel points. We think channel points has been really beneficial. It's a really fun thing to do. We're really trying to figure out what are those things that are going to help you grow more, help you, generate more revenue for you. So, for example, a custom power-up is a form of a channel point. It just is paid, and a lot of streamers have wanted the ability to create special engagements that they're streamers. So it's something that we'll always be looking at because channel points is an important part of the ecosystem. We don't have any changes in the short term, but it's always something that we're looking at. Next one. How is the DJ program going? Long-term plans for it? And I know I also had, I saw one question in there about the DJ program in clips. Okay. So overall, the DJ program has been going really well. I got great feedback. I continually get good feedback from DJs that they appreciate, that they feel like now they have a home where they can stay for a while. When we originally did the deals, we thought initially we would get some attrition just because of the need to do revenue share. We have not seen that attrition, which has been good. I know I've talked to a number of DJs who've been able to find sponsorships and other sources of income. Some haven't still. That's one thing we're continuing to look at, and how to make it easier for DJs to find sponsorships. Because one of the challenges before were DJs, because it wasn't necessarily allowed, it was tougher for them to get sponsorships. And I know some that have now been able to, some that have not. But long term, it's been going well. No big announcement in terms of, and this is going to be different. I will say the one thing that unfortunately is not going to change is being able to grab us to create clips from the DJ streams. That is a rights issue, because the rights for us to do that are different than, and it's very complicated to get those rights, because those rights there are more parties to go to, and there's more stuff to go to. And so that's just a challenge. Of course, you can still be capturing your stream and finding moments and clips from that stream, but unfortunately we won't be able to change that just because of the rights we have. Okay. So Chaos Galaxy, are we going to increase discoverability on Twitch without having to pull from other platforms? So discoverability on Twitch is always something that we're looking at. I want to be very clear. Sometimes people talk about Twitch versus other platforms. I frequently give this answer because the one thing to realize is short form content just happens to be better for discoverability. And one of the things that makes Twitch work so well is people pull up a chair and stay on your channel. 99% of the time someone's on Twitch, they're on your channel watching you, and that's what makes Twitch so special. That's what creates the community. Other platforms are much more transactional, short form, you're flying through, so they actually are well suited for discovery. So we're going to continue to make it easier for you to help leverage those platforms. And part of it, what we want to do is make it easier for you to leverage those platforms, because some people love streaming. They don't want to have to create other stuff. So we should be able to make that much easier. Of course, we also are working on that as well, because we'd love to make discoverability easier and easier. Our investment in clips is one way to do that in terms of the clips feed. Collaboration, a huge part of our investment in collaboration is, as I tell streamers all the time, since we encourage people to be on your channel, the best place to be discovered is on other streamers' channel. Finding a streamer you love is kind of like finding a friend. Just seeing their picture in a feed doesn't necessarily make you click. We've done a lot of stuff where, for example, we put smaller streamers on the homepage to try and see if that can help smaller streamers. And to be frank, oftentimes those don't work very well. Okay, when they don't have some exposure to you, some connection, just putting you in a carousel on the homepage doesn't necessarily drive tons of traffic. But collaborating is a great way, because then people in another community get to spend some time with you. And that's one reason why we were investing in Stream Together. And we've seen a lot of success in that, where we've seen streamers that collaborate together, and that's just not using Stream Together, tend to grow their audience. And I spend a lot of time with streamers, and if you talk how did you grow? A huge part is finding connection with other streamers. And one thing I always tell the smaller streamers, the other trick is spend time on other streamers' channels and be part of their community. And don't spend all your time on big streamers' channel if you're a small streamer. The kind of rule of thumb I use is think of people within 5 to 10x of your ACCV. Okay, so if you're a 20 ACC, find streamers you really like that are 100 or something like that. But be active in their community. Chat. Have them know who you are. Because then when you say, I'm going live, right, they're going to notice you. They're going to raid you, right? Raiding is a great way for people to help you find, but that's by being part of other people's communities. So that's one thing that we continue to try and make easier is that. All right, going on. Will there be exclusive Twitch global emotes? Let's see. Okay, this one we're going to cover later on with something else. Okay. I already talked about when will the enhanced streaming beta feature. Okay, and talk generally. We've talked about 4K. Let's just keep seeing. Let's see. When is monetized open for everyone? Not given the timeline right now. We'll be announcing that shortly in terms of what we're doing. For those who hadn't heard it, this is just trying to make it easier for people to monetize. We're still keeping the affiliate program. It still matters a lot. So we're still working on that. All right. Let me just see. This one. All right. I like reading these and figure out the ones I think are generally generally applicable. Okay. Okay. I think I've covered most of the ones I see here that I think yeah. All right. I think I've covered the ones that are more generally applicable here. So
Okay.
let's see if you saw any other ones in chat. I'm looking over now.
I'll throw you one from Zog21. You don't have to answer this, but let me know because I'm throwing you under the bus. Any plans on improving Twitch Mobile? People are still talking about the bugs and things like that. Any updates for Twitch Mobile, Dan? It's up to you.
It's a great, it is something that our team is looking really hard. I think we've seen a lot of progress there. I do think there were some bugs. I think we've seen a lot of progress in terms of improved playback time. But we have a Tiger team actually that's looking across. There were some problems with clips there that we fixed. But I think it's something that's really important to continue to find any of the problems. I will say we've seen adding the follow channel list has worked really well. We've also seen an increase in engagement on the feed, which is good. I think they've made some improvements in the ranking. We've seen kind of steady improvements in that regard in many of the metrics. And I think some of those improvements are because of these addressing bugs, and some of the improvements is in improving the experience. But I think getting to this new experience was sort of just the beginning. We need to keep iterating and making it better.
Yeah, that's a good answer. I got a question from Turtles and Chill. I think this one's for me. Can we get Animal Channel Week? Back in 2021, you launched Animals, Aquariums, and Zoos channel, and we did make a week out of it, and we had such a blast. We would love to see that again. Thank you, Turtles and Chill. I love seeing you in chat, and I remember you very vividly, and I watch your stream all the time while I'm working, because it's kind of like having a fish tank in my office, but I don't have to deal with it, so thank you. I love Animal Week, and I loved creating this category, and I loved working on this campaign. It was super, super fun. We love doing stuff like that at Twitch. And yes, I would like to do it. The short and sweet answer is of course, I would absolutely love to do this again. You'll probably recognize that we're actually doing a lot of random but very important weeks right now. We did one called Art Week, where we just let people share their artwork and we put it on a fridge. We did one, we have lots of ideas of different types of weeks we want to do. Our team does a lot of work with April Fool's Day, where we get to be silly and have fun streams with you all with fake categories. We're constantly trying to come up with those ideas. I think one of the things we really struggle with is, do we make a net new week that we've never done before, that new people get to explore and enjoy, that's never before been done? Or do we have one that is beloved, that everybody loved? A really good example of that is Fright Fest or Halloween Week. Who doesn't love that? And we actually get more interest in Halloween Week than we do any other of our major holidays. It just shows how many of you guys like scary games and scary stuff. So the more participation we get in these types of events and holidays, the more I get to do them. I would really love to do an Animal Week again. It was really important to me, and just generally speaking, if I can cover animals on Twitch, I will do it. So thank you for saying that, and thanks for the feedback.
All right, and one of the things I noticed now as I was scanning from Yeptar, will I be able to clip in a new tab? My clip workflow is to make a bunch of tabs and then trim them after the stream is over. I haven't seen a demo of what they're planning. It's a good question. I'll actually go follow up because I really like the idea of the pop-out window. Because I know I find it frustrating when I'm watching something and then suddenly my focus goes to a different tab and I don't see the stream. But it's a good point that sometimes what you do is you open 2, 3, or 4. And so I'll check with them to make sure, because that works, if you can create multiple pop-out windows. So I will check with them on that, because yeah, it's a good example where sometimes you solve one problem, but you create another. So appreciate the feedback.
Okay, I think those are most of the questions, Dan. If you see any others, feel free to throw them out there. But one thing I just want to make sure everybody knows about before we head out is that TwitchCon is coming. And we definitely want to make sure that if you haven't yet, you at least think about, consider, and looking at getting your tickets for Rotterdam. We recently announced our lineup of creators who are definitely going to be there. We got some real heavy hitters here, Dan. And this is just something that we look forward to every year. It is beloved by the community, and doing this in the Netherlands is always such a joy. Are you looking forward to it, Dan?
I'm, as always, looking forward to it. I'm trying to figure out my plans of when I get over there, and what I do before and after. The event is always great. So it's a great moment for the community to come together. I love seeing these streamers, the featured streamers. For those who don't know, I always love closing it on the Kappa stage, where I get a lot of music streamers to join me.
Yeah.
So it'll be a highlight. And I think the timing is really good. I know last year we had some conflicts with some other things. Unfortunately, it conflicts with DreamCon, because DreamCon, they were moving and they had to be that weekend. It won't happen next year. DreamCon planned it afterwards because they had limited ability. But I think the timing is good. I think the end of May will be a fun time to be over there. It will be beautiful, sunny. So hopefully I get to see all of you there. It should be a lot of fun.
Not too hot. Yeah, we encourage you to check out, hopefully we can throw some links in chat so that you can get your tickets. Recognize that if you do get tickets, you will get a TwitchCon exclusive badge. It is our 10-year anniversary of TwitchCon, which is so crazy. So if you do, you will get this silver 10 badge signifying our 10th year of having TwitchCon. Pretty cool.
All right.
I'm really looking
Well,
forward
Mary,
to it.
I think that's it.
Man. I can't believe it. I can't believe we got through another one. Yeah, this one is all wrapped up. We really enjoy being able to do this with you and just hanging out with you. It's very important to me to be able to be transparent with the community, answer your questions, and honestly just have more genuine back and forths with you, Dan, about what you're thinking about and why you make the calls that you do for Twitch, because it impacts a lot of people, and I think it's important. So thanks for taking time out of your day to do this.
All right. Well, Mary, thanks for hosting. Thanks for making all this happen. Looking forward to another one in a month, where we'll have lots of fun things to talk about.
Amazing. If you're in chat, you don't have to go anywhere, because we are going to raid Twitch ambassador Ashley Roboto. We just love her. She's so funny. So hang out, enjoy Ashley Roboto, tell them that Twitch sent you. And if you're not yet doing so, follow so that you can get notified the next time Twitch goes live so you don't miss a thing. We will be back with more updates on the next episode. Thank you for watching and have a great day. Bye.